Well, do you know what, everybody? It's Friday.
All right.
It's the end of the week. It's been a busy week once again, traveling all over the place, meeting lots of people, having lots of conversations, and I'm so pleased to be here with you all today on the Newpreneur cast. Now, here's a question for you all out there today who are watching on the YouTube channel, at Lee Foster Official, and also live on LinkedIn today. As you know, I bring along guests with me to really delve into a topic or a discussion or a subject that we can really get into the meat and the bone of it all and flesh it out and share with you all some top tips and some many little golden nuggets galore if we can. Now, are you in a position right now that you're in your business and you're thinking, do I hire somebody? Do I take on an employee? May I take a freelancer? May I just do a contracted basis? Have you gone past the point of your first year in business and thought, now I'm ready to expand my team? Are you in that space right about now? You might be. So this week, I've got the great pleasure to welcome along a lady that I've known for quite a while, but also she's a renowned author of Amazon and many, many things. She just launched her new book called Stepping Up to Lead with her daughter, believe it or not. Absolutely superb. And she's been jet setting all around the world, promoting a book and getting some great success with it and doing some phenomenal talks for many corporate contacts and organizers. Can you welcome with me this week, Annabelle Beckwith of Yara Journeys. Annabelle, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, Lee. Great to be here. Thank you so much for that glowing introduction. I was looking over my shoulder to think, is he talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
No.
Yeah, talking about you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so pleased you came along because we've done a couple of talks over the years, but it's just nice to come along, grab a coffee, be part of my weekly little show and just chat about a subject that we spoke about a few months ago.
We did.
But here's the thing for you, Annabelle, right? So when you started your business, was it just you?
So, right. I mean, do you know what? That should be a straightforward answer, shouldn't it? But I'm thinking, how far back into the mists of time do I go? When I first started my business, I set up with somebody else, but it went a bit pear shaped because she ended up stealing a lot of money from the business. But yes, I know, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
And subsequent to that, I sort of phoenix-like rose from the ashes and set up afresh with another business partner, Dr. Ian Thompson, a dear friend. He's sort of semi-retired now, but so working with a co-founder in that instance. But for the most part, it's been me. And I've always worked on an associate basis. So depending on the nature of the project or the retainer that I'm working on and the client, I'll bring in specialists who are relevant to that particular piece of work. And then from time to time, if we've got several projects on the go, then I'll have somebody who is working as a VA, as an administrator and so on. So I've always chosen to work on that basis rather than hire employees.
Do you do any due diligence? The people, are they introduced to you, or do you find them straight away, or does that take time to really qualify that the right fit for you, Annabelle?
Yeah, it does take a bit of time, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that over the years to have fallen into the trap of, and this happens, I think, absolutely everywhere when it comes to looking for somebody to fulfill a role, of listening to people who talk a good game but can't necessarily deliver. And I think we've all fallen into the trap, because the point is that at that point, whether you are looking to employ somebody, whether you might be a sizable organization looking to bring on a new staff member, you are doing so because there's work to be done and you need somebody there to get on with it. And so there's a pressure to almost be there's a pressure there to get on with it. And there have been times in the past where I've not been as thorough as I might have been with due diligence. I've asked the wrong questions. I've been too quick to go, can you do this, that? Good, you're hired. And also, I think, and this is particularly the case when you're looking for a contractor or somebody to come in and help with your marketing or whatever, is to listen to the marketing spiel and the sales patter, rather than scratching below the surface to think, right, what's really going on? Where are their testimonials? Who can I talk to? Who can be an advocate for this person? So I think that's that's the first kind of red flag, Lee. Do you think? I mean, I'm like, what's your view? Is that you can be so keen to get somebody that the first person who seems like a decent human being, who sounds like they can look they can do the job. The temptation is to skip the difficult bit, the due diligence and the ferreting around, and make hasty hiring decisions that can be expensive, even if you're not taking them on as a staff member, as an employee, because again, with the changes in the legal system, you need to be unbelievably careful now so that you don't make that mistake. But even if you're bringing in a freelancer or somebody, you don't want to be making an expensive mistake.
No.
So yeah, due diligence is a key thing.
I think for me, when you look at that from my perspective, is that I'm in the people business, right? So, you know, reputation should precede somebody. If I get my words out properly today, actually.
Yes.
But reputation should precede them. And if you get a good recommendation from one of your connections, that's worth its weight in gold. But sometimes, though, even in the past, I've been recommended people to work with, and as you said earlier, they do a good talk, but they don't walk it the right way. And it's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And you get that. And then I'm very careful with that now more than ever before, because you've heard the phrase, it takes a lifetime to build your reputation, but it takes a second to destroy it completely. And that one person could literally destroy everything that you've built around you by just you letting them in to the sort of the sphere of your business type thing.
Yeah.
I believe in a good recommendation, and it's having that confidence and trust in somebody. But it's also, I think you're also right as well at the beginning, it's actually finding an area that they can fix for you. And I think we're very quick off the mark going, great, you can do that for me. How many hours? Brilliant. Okay, can you fix that for me? And you can run with it and you can look after that project for me. And you're quick to get that done by somebody you think is going to be a qualified professional and deliver it for you. Or the golden goose that's going to change everything for your business overnight. Even in the past 8 years I've been running my business, I learned that the hard way in the early days.
Yes, I think. Do you know another thing, and this has been coming up with quite a few clients that I've been working with, like entrepreneur clients and entrepreneur support organizations recently, is that when you're hiring, it's quite easy to say, we need a social media manager, or we need a operations director, we need a job title. And that's actually not an ideal place to start. The best place to start is to really be granular about it and say, what do we need this person to do on a day-to-day basis? And what do we need them to be delivering? What might the KPIs of this imaginary person be? And to be really specific about those, because otherwise there's a risk that somebody goes, right, we're hiring a marketing manager, a social media specialist, and somebody goes, oh, that's me. But you've not been clear about what they need to deliver for your business. And if they're going to be delivering those KPIs for your business, this is the sort of thing that they need to be doing day to day. So it's a wise move to think in a fairly granular way about what do you need this person to do? What's the specific thing that needs done, rather than being too quick to slap a job title on it. And again, there's this thing, isn't there, where sometimes we want to make it a fancy job title because we want good people to apply. And that may or may not be the most useful thing to do. But it's like, that's fine. Call it what you like. I mean, there's all sorts of creative titles. I don't like them, but there's all sorts of creative job titles out there. But the pivotal thing is that call it whatever you like, but be crystal clear in your own mind. What is this person going to be delivering for your business? What are the results that you want them to be bringing? And what are they going to be doing? Those are the two pivotal things. And then that becomes your benchmark for your conversation and your interview, whatever process you're choosing to use, because you're constantly cross-checking. Well, I need somebody who needs to be able to do this. And you're asking questions about that rather than tell me about your experience as a marketing manager, in which case they can talk about absolutely anything, isn't it? So the more specific you are, that will create the benchmarks that you're actually measuring against when you're hiring someone. And there's I know many people, some people have, some people haven't.
Sure.
When you're asking the questions, to use the STAR acronym, because people can be really good at going, we were great, we did this, we did that, and you go, yeah, and what did you do? And if it's like, well, I did the typing and made the tea, that might not be what you need somebody to do in your business. So situation, task, action, result. So you're asking questions that are getting them to say, tell me about a situation where you had to go above and beyond the call of duty to get a client over the line or something like that. Oh, it was this, that, and the other. What was the task? What did you actually have to do? What was required? Action. What specifically did you do? Not we, not us, not that you. And what were the results of that?
Yeah.
And if you can follow through on that, if somebody is bluffing it or embellishing the truth a little bit, you'll be able to find that out through your probing question. So again, it's that sort of question which is really evidence-based, rather than what would you do if, and any hypothetical question leaves the door, like the barn door, wide open for them to say whatever they think they need to say in order to get the job. What would you do if you were faced with a difficult customer? Well, of course I would remain calm, and I would bet, yeah, of course you would. Hypothetical questions aren't useful. Situation, task, action, results.
I love that. And I think what's really important as well is that what we're discussing this morning is that when I look from a sales perspective, right, people say to me, I want loads of sales, I want revenue to come in, and they think it's just going to happen for them, right? And they think there's this magical dark art that literally create lots of opportunities, and they'll convert every opportunity that gets delivered to them as well. And it's that old analogy that if throw enough stuff at the wall that sticks, we've got an opportunity. And I should have a new name for this thing as one of my podcasts should be, don't sugarcoat it, right? It's like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all. It's that you've got to have a strategy and a plan, and you've got to have a key performance indicator that you want to achieve to it. And what happens is when we're looking for these tasks to be done, either we're trying to get more time into our business when we're just starting off. We're looking for that sales funnel or to lead in the opportunity. Be specific of what the objective is for each single criteria that you want to achieve in a time scale of the first 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, etc. Also have the 90-day plan or the 3-month plan, etc., which is great, but set up the right stall that you want to do. And again, when we're looking at marketing, what type of marketing is it? Is it going to be social media? Or is it going to be word of mouth? Or is it going to be advertisement, etc., leaflets, things like this? If it is going to be social media, be specific of where you want to be targeting that. And again, it comes down to those goals and objectives you want to achieve to it.
Exactly that.
But if you're specific, they're not going to give you everything. You're going, this is what I need. This is what I want. What results have you shown because of that? And I've learned that in the hard way in the early days. It's like, if you could speak to yourself when you first started off, Annabelle, when you first started your journeys, and you were just thinking of the idea and you just off the mark, brand new business in the first year, you were doing it all yourself. But you'd be very careful to bring people in, or did you get people to come in and help you in your first year, or was it just all on you?
Oh gosh, no, it was all me. Just like, for me, it was like networking. Because again, I think right at the beginning, many people, when they're bootstrapping, it's like, well, I haven't got any money for advertising. I haven't got any, it's about bootstrapping and doing things yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just jumping back to what you said a second or two ago there, just being really clear about your strategy, because there is the sales. We want sales. Yeah, but what sort of sales? Is it the churn? It's actually not about sales revenue. It's about profit margins, because you could have, we've got a very impressive turnover. Our sales are right the way up here. But if you're not keeping money within your business, then it's a little bit of a vanity metric. So it's what sort of sales? It may be, right, we want the churn. We want the day-to-day bread and butter, but we also want to have those high value projects, and maybe we get 2 or 3 of those a year, but those are the high value projects while this is going on. So again, it's that strategic view as to what is it that you want for your business, and therefore how does the sales strategy need to match up to that, and therefore what's the expertise of the person that you bring in? Because again, I see it quite a lot where it's, well, they said they were really good at sales, they said they could do XYZ, but I put them in front of that client and they were like a rabbit in the headlights. So, because that's not the sort of sales that they're good at.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, we're kind of coming back to the same point, that the more specific you are and the clearer your strategy about what exactly you want that person to deliver for the business, the more likely you are to find the right person, because you're actually looking for the right person rather than a job title, sales. The more vague it is, the more wide open it is for costly mistakes, really.
Well, I don't think we know that everybody in business always brings people on to generate sales for them.
Yeah, in some shape or form.
In some way.
Or the delivery of the thing that...
Yeah. But if they bring somebody on, I look at it from a consultative perspective. I mean, I was hired years ago to be a business development manager for hire. So I used to do sort of 2 to 3 days a month for holiday companies. If they wanted to hire me, they could hire me, and I'll do 2 to 3 days a month. I'll travel around. I know what the KPIs, I know what they're promoting. I knew exactly what they wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
I had my remit, had my projects, and I went, right, that's what I'm delivering for you. If I get into the table, you've got to convert them. That's what you're looking for. It's as easy as that. And it's as easy as starting with a conversation. That's all it starts with, just having talks with people regularly, consistently on that one. But I do like the fact of because also like a graphic designer, some of them don't work for a company. Some of them now work for an individual on a freelance basis.
Yeah.
Do you think it's an easier way to go down the consultancy route, the sort of paying for them for so many hours per month instead of taking them on as an employee? Do you feel in your first few years?
Do you know, I don't think there's one answer to that, because it depends entirely on the business. So because of the nature of what I do, and there's quite a lot of variety. So I'm working on a project with a major hotel chain at the moment.
Okay.
And I'm working with 2 people who are coming in as expert advisors, Callum and Dan, on an associate basis, because I probably won't need them on the next project where I'm working with somebody else, with somebody in the aerospace sector or something of that sort. So this is why I work in this way, because I don't need that particular individual on the books all the time. But it varies it's going to vary according to the type of your organization and how you want to grow it. So like back in the day, like blimey, 20 something years ago when I was starting, okay, so this other person stole all the money. But at that point, I had been thinking, oh, let me build a team, I'll do this. And it was subsequent to that, which I took a bit of a bruising, like in terms of trusting people ever again, all sorts of things. After that, I thought, no, I'm going to stick to the associate basis. But, there would have been a point where I thought, right, okay, I'm going to need to bring somebody in here. And again, the starting point is to think, like, what do I need somebody to do? And part of the thinking behind that is, if you're a solopreneur looking to scale up now, is to think, what is my zone of genius? What is the thing that I do brilliantly well?
Love that.
Don't outsource that. So if your thing is, I'm just brilliant at business development, I can go out and I need to get more leads in, or I can bring the work in. I need a technical expert who can take it on and start to deliver the thing, or work with me on the product or whatever. Then think in those terms. So stick to your zone of genius and think, well, who do I need in the background? And there's also different ways of doing it, because there's a lot of pressure on, and this is, you can see why there's a lot of pressure from government bodies and so on to employ people, because obviously employment is something that the economy wants to see. However, is that the right choice for you? It might be that you take somebody on part-time. It might be that you have a paid intern. I say paid intern because I firmly believe that everybody is worth their wages. Don't be trying to blag free work from a youngster. A sort of a paid intern. Is it somebody on a flexible basis? Is it a virtual assistant? Is it administration? And so therefore, is that somebody in the UK? I know there's people within the Revitalised Network who are based in South Africa, for example, and who can outsource really highly qualified VAs in the same time zone, and so on and so forth. So be thinking about, again, What's your zone of genius? What do you need the other person to do? And what therefore are your options? Money is going to be part of that. Sometimes people will say, oh, you just access to talent. You just can't find the staff. You probably can, but you also need to be thinking, if what you need is a financial director, but you can scrape together enough cash for an entry-level bookkeeper, then you might need to think about that. And maybe it's actually, I really do need a financial director for the pace of growth that we've got. Well, hire somebody on a fractional basis. You're far better off getting somebody very experienced to work for you for a day a week than somebody who isn't so experienced and doesn't have the skill level for where you want your business to go, trying to pay them full time. So there's a number of flexible options here. But again, the crucial thing is like, how do you want to grow your business, and what is it that you need that person to do to support you? That's thing. What do I need exactly? Don't start with the job title. Oh, dear God, no. What is it that you need that person to do now, and what is it you need that person to grow into? Look to that first, and then when you start doing that, you think, oh, actually, there's quite a few options available to me.
It's interesting because I went, again, I use that word interesting quite a lot, but just over a year or so ago, I looked at my local branches I have, and I thought, right, I brought ambassadors on board, and you can either go down like also the other road you can look at is the franchise model route, right? So you might expand your business, and you might think I can duplicate it, and I can franchise it.
Yep.
But then you also think you want the power base around you who actually understand what you're trying to achieve with it and what you're trying to grow with it, and that's when you can sort of take a step back, and people, those main connections, those ambassadors that are delivering what you do well without you being there. And that's something I looked at last year, and I've worked on that over the past sort of year and a bit, and I think that's really important to do. And that's a different type of perspective, and looking from a freelancer consultant, they're not employees, the part of that sort of overall package of a membership based organization wise. But it's interesting when you talk about, you could give them a trial basis for like an hour a week or an hour a month and say, listen, let's see what you can do for me. Let's put a trial basis in place and do it for the next 3 months, and then see where we are in 3 months' time and see if that's worked. Because there's so much, the big thing that people get from sort of VAs and everything else is getting the time back for themselves. That's probably one of the biggest things that people say to us at the minute in business is I haven't got enough time in the day to do anything.
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, you can.
So
you just have to decide, and you have to decide you're going to take them on for like sort of for 10 hours a month, which then would cost you money. But it's not costing you money. It's an investment to give an investment back to you, because that
is the thing, isn't it? Because it's like, if you're finding that you're spending those 10 hours faffing around with admin that somebody else could easily do, then free up those 10 hours to be generating the new business, or to be doing the higher value activities where you can deploy yourself to greater effect. I think there's also a thing, like in what you were just saying, is like somebody else has got to grab the ball and run with it. And we've been talking mainly around sort of freelancers and contractors and so on. But once you start to bring employees into your team, you have to be able to let them get on with it as well, which is going to revolve around knowing how to set goals and KPIs and so on, know how to manage their performance. And it's that this all is it's starting to sound a bit corporate speak. It's not. These are just kind of fairly straightforward things that you need to be able to do. Set goals, manage their performance, be able to delegate to them, give them the wherewithal to make decisions within the context of their role, so they're not having to constantly come back and ask you. And as the business grows, it then becomes around, right, I now need to develop leadership capability within my business, because it's not just me and one or two others, it's now me and maybe a senior management team who are then managing other people. So it's building the leaders within your business. And when a business really starts to grow and scale like that, then it is about having processes and systems in place for managing people, managing KPIs, making sure you've got a core set of values. Because actually, even if we backpedal back to the sales thing, you're hiring a salesperson who can generate money for your business. You still, even if you're outsourcing to that person, you want them to be generating sales in a way that is in alignment with your values. You don't want some spammer who's just messaging all of your LinkedIn contact, making a nuisance of themselves in order to get. So there's the values piece, and there's other things as the machine gets bigger. There's other things that you need to be doing, none of which are rocket science. And I must say, it's a pet peeve of mine when people say, nobody tells you this. You've got to figure it out yourself. Well, it's not just me. It's not just a plug for the book. But there's so many resources out there that will say these are the things that you need to be getting in place when you're ready to scale, to make sure you build your business on solid foundations.
That's another good point there, though. It's understand it. They have to understand the value that you bring to the table. They've got to understand your values that you want to deliver regularly, and setting up the framework of actually going, this is what I'm wanting to achieve. You're part of this sort of team now going forward, however it's built up to, have you got that sort of built, sort of set up and written it down? I mean, I'm actually going through the same thing myself at the moment, is writing them down by branch level and going, right, who's part of my team and who's part of that now as well? And have they got what they need to achieve what I would like them to achieve, the objectives? But also, does everybody understand the value that you bring to the table? And I think a lot of people, maybe rewind back slightly, I think a lot of people don't actually look at that in the first year of business. They're just trying to get off the ground. They're just trying to make revenue and to make a start. But they don't think about looking ahead of themselves, maybe a year or 2 years later, going, if I scale up and I grow and I can't manage all the business, I'll need to bring someone in to manage that overspill, to maintain it, for me to grow to the next level, which is like you go up and you hit the plateau, and then you're going up again to hit that next little plateau, and then you really want to go where you want to achieve to the next part of it in there as well. That's really good point you mentioned on that one. I love the zone of genius as well, by the way.
I wish I made that up. I didn't. Somebody else. I don't even know who it was that I heard that from, but I thought, well, that is the thing. Recognize the value that you bring, and also on that note is sometimes people are so good at a thing they don't even realize it. It's like, well, doesn't everybody know? They don't. So even when you're recognizing your zone of genius, you might, ask friends and family, like, what would you say? What is the most high value thing do you think I'm bringing to my business? Even if they don't know your business inside out, they're going to say, well, actually, do you know it's your ability to explain this incredibly complex tech bit of kit in layman's terms that everybody gets? Doesn't everybody know? Everybody doesn't. Most techie people will baffle everybody. The fact that you can do that is a thing. Your ability to build relationships, your ability to present your business in a way that is really compelling, your ability to analyze the benefits that your product or service, those are the things. So there will be things that that you're good at. There's going to be a load of things that you don't know that you're good at, and that's also something that you need to be aware of, because otherwise you could accidentally bring somebody in to do the thing that actually you're really good at and you could and should be doing as part of leading.
There's another part. There's another golden nugget you said there as well, and I always encourage people to do this, Annabelle, right? Is speak to your family, your friends, and people that are part of it, but speak to your clients.
Absolutely. Yes.
Why did they deal with you for? What was the value that you brought to the table for them? Why? And they'll tell you exactly what they think. And then, of course, you'll have your main core of loyal fans or loyal sort of clientele that are in there. But the people I speak to lately, I get my little soapbox now as well. I am standing up, everybody. But it's like you get to a point where you're saying to everybody, okay, so tell me why you're working with me for, and listen to that feedback. People don't ask their existing clients or past clients.
No, that is true. That is true. And it's actually, even in terms of asking for a recommendation, sometimes if it's, we're going slightly off piste here, but it's relevant to the point, where it's like, could you write me an endorsement? And somebody, in the past, I've had people saying, Annabelle's a lovely person. I've known her for years. And you're going, oh, thank you so much. This does not help sell my business. So it is, but it's again, having a specific ask when you're asking for feedback. Because if you say, what am I like? People are going to go, you're okay. You need to be specific to get the information that you want. So it's things like, if you're asking a client, it's something like, what was the problem you came to me with? What was the result that we delivered, we or I delivered for you? What was it like working with me or us? And it's like and again, I wish I'd figured that out myself. Somebody thankfully told me. And so when I started to ask people, they would start to say to me, well, it was this, it was that. And it was the telling thing was around, and the way in which we worked for you, you made it enjoyable, you made it fun. We thought it was going to be a dreary trudge through gross margin management for senior managers, and it wasn't. There were pie charts with real pies. There was, whatever else was going on. And you think, oh, and that's the bit for me. I was thinking, doesn't everybody do that? Well, clearly not. But it was, what was it like working with me? That's a really big thing, because again, with any client, you're going in to solve a problem or plug a gap that they have. But also, if you're enjoyable to work with, you're easy to work with, you're efficient to work with, you get things, if you are making their life easier outside your provision of the product or service and so on, that's also a huge asset, isn't it?
It's again, it's that what we're chatting about here is asking those clients and asking those people who you're working with, asking those individuals who are providing a service for you in your business, if you've took them on as a freelancer, and let's say, for example, they've worked with you for the past 12 months and you want to tap in and ask them. And I wrote some questions down the other day, is actually the why, the results, and the why again. It's the why, the results, and the why. And it's why they got involved, the results that they've gained from that, and why would they recommend me to somebody else?
Oh, that's yeah. Why would they?
Why would they?
And indeed, almost like, and who would you recommend me to? Well, I'd recommend you to somebody who's in this particular problem, because that's also, they might be clarifying a market for you that you thought, oh, the way they've expressed it from their perspective is a useful thing. Yeah, good,
definitely on that one.
Add on.
If anyone's watching and listening to us today, especially on YouTube, but you can type into the comment boxes on the LinkedIn Live. If you've got any questions or anything you want to share as feedback from me and Annabelle, please feel free to do so. Just drop it into the chat area, into the comment boxes, because we are live on LinkedIn right about now as well. And it's also live on my YouTube channel, which is at Lee Foster Official, which you'll see in the bottom ticker tape down at the bottom there as well. So we normally get a couple of people dropping in. We've got somebody on there at the minute as well. So if you've got anything you want to ask Annabelle and myself, just drop it in, or feedback you've got, or something you think that's made you think of it in a different way, just drop it in. We're going to be with you for the next sort of 5 or 6 minutes or so, anyway, up to about the 40-minute mark for our call today. Yeah, I think it's good when we start looking at it, and I think staying solo is another thought to say behind it. Do I just stay on my own? Do I not bother with getting people? I might need them, but I know what I'm doing. And you just want to stay. There's no harm in just staying in your own little zone, is there?
No, absolutely not. And I think this is one of those things where, again, it's like, it's your life, at the risk of stating the obvious. It's your life, it's your choice. And it's almost like, before you start to think about your business and how that might grow and what you might do, be thinking about, well, what kind of lifestyle what kind of life do you want to have? From my point of view, as the sole breadwinner and then the single parent, my focus was always making sure my kids was okay. So, and that was the primary thing. So I'll keep it small, I'll keep it manageable. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm having to think about employees and a team and all of those kind of pressures, because that's what my focus was. And that's the choice I made. And I have absolutely no regrets about that whatsoever. So it's absolutely about the choices that you want to make. There is nothing wrong with staying as a solopreneur. There's huge advantages to it. You can be fleet of foot, you can change direction, and so on. There's also building a business, if that's what you want to do, because then there's value in your business. You've got a saleable proposition. You can get investment, start to scale up and grow exponentially. You've got a business that you can then sell on. So, it's horses for courses. But at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong here. There's no right or wrong.
No.
And the narrative and the focus might be around, building the next unicorn. You think, yeah, whatever. It's not always about scaling up. It's also about scaling deep. And this is a sort of a side narrative that's going on in various circles at the moment, where it's actually solopreneurs, micro businesses, mumpreneurs. It's the smaller organizations that are absolutely the backbone of the British economy here. So just because somebody isn't building some rah-rah behemoth that's going to, be here in 150 years' time, that's still okay. I mean, by all means, go ahead and build a unicorn, by the way, because those are great too. But it's up to you. And do you know what? It's also that thing about thinking, this is where I want it to take me, but also actually beyond that, I wonder how far this could go. You might start something and then think, crumbs, I thought I was just creating this, but it transpires that actually with a little bit of know-how from other people and with some amendment, this actually could be the next big thing, the next unicorn, the next absolute game changer. So you never know where it can take you, but it's your life, it's your journey, and nobody else's.
But that's what we're talking about today, really. Where are you in your journey that you want to hire somebody, you want to freelance somebody, you want to have a consultancy rate with somebody that's in there. But if you can manage it all yourself and you want to run it all, I mean, the question is, what is your exit strategy? Anybody who's watching and listening today is actually thinking, have you just started your business in the first year? If you've just been established the last 5 years, are you looking for an exit strategy to be at a point where you can sell the business to? But have you gained enough results in there and you've gained enough traction? You put enough in. So to exit the business or to sell the business, it's got to have some sort of dynamic and built into it, leadership and sort of a matrix, a structure, a format that's in there for people to actually invest into.
Yes.
So it's wherever people are in that journey where they want to step up or expand. To expand, you've got to bring other people in.
Yes.
I'm right in saying that. It's to expand. Because I always ask the question, how much business can you handle on a month-to-month basis? I can handle 5 customers per monthly. Okay. How much time does that dedicate for you and those clients? It might be 10 hours for each of them. So I'm looking at 50 hours a month for those 5 clients that I've got. Okay. So what happens if you got the 6th client on board and it's an extra 10 hours that you're going to work with them? It's like a full day proposition for them, for example. It could be an hour. I never thought of it that way before. So if you get inundated, have you got the right process, the right due diligence to think, I've got somebody who can step up to the plate and go, yeah, they can deliver it the same way as I do, deliver the same value, the same confidence, but the value is the most important thing, and they can stick to the same script and deliver it the same way with their own little patash that goes with it as well. So I think that's another thing to think about when they're at that stage, how much they can actually deal with.
No, absolutely. And again, it might feel like, if you're just getting out of the starting blocks, thinking exit strategy. I've only just started. But it is.
Nobody's ever said that to them. Exit strategy. I've just started my business.
But it's worthwhile thinking, well, where do you want it? Where do you want it to go? So, is it a question, right, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to stash a bit of cash and I've got some other things going on in the background. So I've got a portfolio of activities there that are sustaining the lifestyle I want or whatever. Or is it a question of, right, well, my exit strategy is I'm going to grow it as much as I can for 5 or 10 years and then sell it. Or it might be, this is a legacy business that I want to hand on to my children. It's worth thinking about in those early days so that you know what you're aiming towards. Otherwise, you're just kind of wandering in a direction, which may or may not be the right one.
Not at all. Some good points were raised up there today, Annabelle. Some good little discussion areas we've thought about.
We were just chewing the fat, Lee, chewing the fat about all sorts of things.
And I'm drinking literally a bucket full of coffee. It's probably about the size of my head, actually, that cup.
Well, you see, I suddenly realised that I should have been a little bit more brand aware, because I was drinking some orange vitamin in a beer glass, and I thought, oh no, and then my alternative is a coffee in this. So it's like, okay, I think I've just torpedoed my brand credibility there with my son's beer glass and my free Sports Direct. But I drink so much tea that this will do, to be quite honest.
You see, you've got to be careful with juice, though. Just going on a tangent here, because I did a comedy stand-up months ago, and there's one of the things I was putting in my little set I was working on was that when I first moved up to Scotland, for many people watching in England and further afield, my missus now, she went, could you go out and get some juice for us? So I went out and got 2 bottles of diluting juice. And when I came back with the diluting juice, she went, no, I want a juice. I said, what's juice? She went, juice. It's not that juice. So it was like going juicing all this juice. And I went, so what sort of juice? It's like fizzy. I went, fizzy pop juice. She went, yes, that's juice.
No, that's ginger. You're wrong there. That's
ginger. The ginger. And then I heard ginger and I didn't have a clue what that was for either. But again, Yeah.
No, I've
Everybody
lived here
watching,
for
don't
30
get
years, so I
mistaken
grasp
for
this now, but I'm with you. At first, I was kind of like, what? Not quite
Where's
sure.
he going? Where's he going
Yeah.
with this? Everybody, if you've been watching and listening to this, or you're watching this play back on the YouTube channel, I can't highly recommend enough that you reach out to Annabelle,
Please
connect with her
do.
on LinkedIn, have a conversation with her, and also find out about a book as well, Stepping Up to Lead. Some great, and also 5 P's in a row.
Yes, get your P's in a row. 5
Get your
key
P's in a row.
factors
I knew I
to,
was getting that
yes,
right.
yeah.
Get your P's in a row. So some great books there about business. I've got them myself, and I would highly recommend that you get the opportunity to download it, read it, book it, get it emailed, get it mailed to yourself, and start delving into it as well.
Thank you.
Annabelle, what are you up to next? What's the next plan for today and the next sort of month ahead of me?
The month ahead, well, it's quite busy. I'm working on a couple of corporate projects, got some PR things in the offing, and also quite a lot of training workshop delivery for a range of clients on leadership and management in various facets. So yeah, busy couple of months, very busy couple of months.
Super.
And all
Plenty
good.
going on, but I wish you all the very best for the future endeavors for May. As we
Thank you
just
very much.
beginning of May, can't believe it in May already.
I know already.
Yeah. But thanks for joining me this week as my guest on the Newpreneur cast. I do sincerely appreciate it, Annabelle.
Thank you very much for having me, Lee. It's been great to
You're
be
welcome.
chatting with you.
And thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening or watching this back as a downloadable piece on the YouTube channel as well. Please stay tuned. If you haven't registered, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, and you'll be updated and notified when we're doing our next talks. We've got many more coming up over the months ahead. And there's also a new offering coming up very soon as well. So keep your eyes open on the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a new show, going to be added into the mix once a month as well. But I'm going to keep it under wraps at the minute. So you've got to find out what it is. You've got to start following me on LinkedIn. Something a bit new from my past history that I'm doing with a phenomenal colleague of mine that I've known for over 25 years. So thanks again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, the most important thing you can do this week and going forward from me and Annabelle is keep connecting.
Absolutely.
Conversations flowing. Yeah. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.